Hello, everybody. My name is Eric D. Johnson. Also, I'm a BrightShine. Live right here in the city of Memphis in the county of Shelby State of Tennessee. Today's date is Sunday morning, June the 11th, 2023. And the time is 8:56 a.m. First, I'm going to say thank you to all my fans, my support, for your continued current support. I'm continuing to keep myself employed in Memphis tri-state area, continue to further my education. More college online, continue to pursue my social research, being administrative, contract to market. The present time, took a break and going to school. In the very near future, I'm going to go back to Morrow College online and continue to pursue my social research, being administrative, contract to market. Now, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to start my Facebook Live. Hello, everybody. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live right here in this Memphis tri-state area. I continue to further my education. Morrow College online. Continue to pursue my social research, being administrative, contract, market. The present time, took a break and going to school. In the very near future, I'm going to go back to Morrow College online. I'm going to continue to pursue my social research, being administrative, contract, market. Now, what you see in front of you: anti-gang, anti-Gnostic, and anti-hazing. Also, Saint Irenaeus, the Bishop of Lyons, together with Saint Ignatius, the Bishop of Antioch. They wrote a 5-volume book titled Adversus Heresies, translated it means against heresies, refuting Gnosticism, proving that Gnosticism was a heresy. Also, Saint Athanasius, the Bishop of Alexandria, in the year 367 AD, in his 39th Festal letter, Easter letter, banned all non-Christian writing. The Gnostic theologians were doing all this writing. And St. Athanasius, the Bishop of Alexandria, and together with other bishops in the Catholic Church, they went around and collected all that Gnostic writing and destroyed it. A few copies of that Gnostic writing, Gnostic theologian writing, didn't get destroyed. A person or persons took some copies of that Gnostic theologian writing, wrapped it in some papyrus paper, and put it in a jar and buried it in Nag-Hammadi, Egypt. In 1945, a little farm boy over in Nag-Hammadi, Egypt, was outside playing, and he found the Nag-Hammadi library. He didn't know what he had found. He'd go outside and play every day. He gave what he found to his father, who was a farmer. The farmer at first didn't really know what his son had found. And once he found out what his son had found, he had to figure out what to do with it. Eventually, the scholars at the colleges and universities around the world, they found out about it. And now they are using and misusing the Nag-Hammadi library to victimize innocent men, women, and children, trying to destroy wildlife, nature, and the environment, including the North and South Pole, as well as out in space, being self-destructive and destructive. Also, St. Epiphanius of Salome, the Bishop of Cyprus, wrote a 3-volume book titled Panorama, Greek, Panorama, Latin, translated meaning bread basket. Scholars have also said that St. Epiphanius of Salome, Bishop of Cyprus, 3-volume book is also Adversus Heresies, against heresies. rejecting knowledge. Rejecting knowledge. Rejecting knowledge. Rejecting knowledge. Esoteric and exoteric. Esoteric and exoteric. Esoteric. Breaking into syllables. Esoteric. Breaking into syllables. Exoteric. Breaking into syllables. Exoteric. So you got to break the word down into syllables. The Almighty, Vice Lord, Four Corner Hustle. The Almighty, Black Prince Stone. The Almighty, Black Disciples, Poppin'. The Almighty, Mickey Cobra, Cracker. The Almighty Bluefin, Black Disciple, Black Disciple. The Lord, Stone Disciple. 7-Eleven, G Killer. Gangster Disciple Killer. Glazed Donut Killer. Goofy Killer. The history of the city of Chicago. It's important. American history, world history, the history of the city of Chicago. Today is like I said, Sunday morning is around about a couple of minutes after 9 o'clock in the morning, and continue to work toward bringing Conservative Vice Lord Incorporated to revitalize Conservative Vice Lord Incorporated bootstrap. It's important. When you say bootstrap, it's important. Conservative Vice Lord Incorporated is coming back. It's going to be revitalized. Should have never stopped operating. You understand? It should have never stopped operating. And that it was very important to initiate bootstrap Chicago. Conservative Vice Lord Incorporated. Very important. Every day, individuals have to make choices and decisions. And when you make choices and decisions, everybody don't live in the same place, of course. Just like here in the city of Memphis, for example, I live here in the city of Memphis. It's in the state of Tennessee. And when you talk about the state of Tennessee, it's in Shelby County. And then when you talk about Shelby County and then the city of Memphis, there are different areas of the city, like Whitehaven. And then you have South Memphis, North Memphis. You have the Hickory Hill area. You have like Cableville and Westwood and Mitchell and go on and on and on and on. Germantown. Well, that's another city, but East Memphis, and so on and so forth. Bartlett, Raleigh, Fraser. Different locations. We are not all situated in the same location, and so people have to make choices and decisions. You have a federal, state, and local government, and people make choices and decisions by the laws that the federal, state, and local government enact, and so. and some them choices in the season can sometimes be detrimental. But it's important that you understand about the choices and decisions that people make. And in the early 1900s, choice and decision was made to initiate on the south side of Chicago the Dirty Sheiks and the Wailing Sheepers. On the south side of Chicago, early 1900s. And from that, from the Dirty Sheiks and the Wailing Sheepers came the Imperial Chaplains and the 14th Street Clovers. And out of that, you had the conservative vice lord. You know, eventually and it was very important that things were being done, because that was a period of time where black / African Americans were, with all this Jim Crow and all this bigotry and hatred and prejudice and racism, was very, very influential, was very prevalent in the early 1900s, and then it continued on, World War One, then World War Two, and after World War Two with the 1945 discovery of the Nagamine Library, some leftover Gnostic theologian writing that should have been destroyed with the rest of that nonsense. They didn't get destroyed. And the scholars and the people in academia, they took the Nagamine Library to use and misuse, to victimize innocent men, women, and children, to destroy wildlife and nature, to destroy the environment, including the North and South Pole. Now out of space. And you be self-destructive and destructive. And so when it comes to choices and decisions, choice and decision had been made for Bootstrap, Conservative Vice Lord Incorporated. see. And so, when you have to make choices and decisions, there's either life and death. That's what kind of the choices and decisions that a lot of people had to make. You had the dirty sheets and the wailing shebas. And a lot of choices and decisions were life and death choices and decisions. You had this discovery of the Nehemiah Library in 1945, a bunch of leftover Nazi theologians writing, talking about the demiurge, which is very ignorant and stupid. There's no such thing as no gnosis, and there's no such thing as no thing as talking about this demiurge in such a way that the so-called Nazis do. Because this demiurge that you be talking about, this good God, the Nazis took the information and distorted it and changed the demiurge from being the good God who desired a world of good to being a dumb God who called himself creating a evil world, which is all lies. It's all you're doing lying. The Catholic Church has already refuted Gnosticism as being a heresy. Plato, a very ancient philosopher who was taught by Socrates, wrote a book about this demiurge and about the universe and all this. In the title of his book, the pronunciation Timaeus or Timaeus,
one of his own books, the Timaeus.
And Aristotle holds his book, the Ethics.
And both of those books represent the contrast. Son of Timaeus, Bar meaning son, son of Timaeus. And he was blind. Presumably because he was blind, he couldn't get a job. This fact was reported by Plato in his dialogue, the Timaeus.
It turns out that God does not exist. On Platonism, there may be a demiurge, such as is featured in Plato's
argues for rule by a philosopher king instead of democracy, and Timaeus, in which Socrates talks about the nature.
We are looking at how to pronounce the name of this book by Greek philosopher Plato. We're going to be looking at how to pronounce more interesting Greek names as well, so make sure to stay tuned and consider subscribing for more learning. There are two different ways of saying it. Either Timaeus being closer to the original Greek pronunciation,
pronouncenames.com.
Timaeus. Timaeus. Timaeus.
Do we have the correct pronunciation of your name?
Timaeus. Timaeus. Timaeus.
Timaeus or Timaeus. Timaeus or Timaeus. Timaeus or Timaeus. Timaeus or Timaeus. Timaeus or Timaeus. Timaeus or Timaeus. 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 Timaeus.
Timaeus. Timaeus. Timaeus. Timaeus.
Timaeus. Timaeus. Timaeus. Timaeus.
Timaeus. Timaeus. Timaeus. Timaeus.
See, this is the book that Greek philosopher Plato wrote, titled Timaeus or Timaeus, and get straight to the point. The book title, Timaeus or Timaeus, begins with the distinction between the physical world and the eternal world. The physical one is a world which changes and perishes. Therefore, it is the object of opinion and unreasonable sensation. The eternal one never changes. Therefore, it is apprehended by reason. Now, Timaeus suggests that since nothing becomes or changes without cause, then the cause of the universe must be a demiurge, or a god, a figure. Timaeus refers to as the father and maker of the universe. And since the universe is fair, the demiurge must have looked to the eternal model to make it, and not to the perishable one. Hence, using the eternal and perfect model of forms or ideals as a template, he set about creating our world, which formerly only existed in a state of disorder. When I use my tablet, I had to make sure that being on the inside of the house. Sometimes it does that. Sometimes my phone do the same thing when I'm inside the house. And so, like I said, when you have to make choices and decisions, and you see how people have been influenced in a negative way, not a positive way, that's what that Nehemiah library did. It put a negative influence on a lot of people. The dirty sheets and the wailing sheep, who were really doing a lot to help human rights and civil rights. The dirty sheets and the wailing sheep. Early 1900s. A lot of these are historically black colleges and universities around this country, in various locations on the East Coast, the South, in your northern cities, Midwest, Southwest, and all the way out west, like California, Oregon, Washington State, so on and so forth. In the continental United States, a lot of historically black colleges and universities. The so-called sororities and fraternities in the early 1900s, before the 1945 discovery of the Nehemiah Library. Because of the Freedmen's Bureau, because of Reconstruction, the Freedmen's Bureau, even after the military zones had been abolished, and because of the Freedmen's Bureau establishing schools and really being the foundation for the public schools, is that a lot of black / African Americans were going to these historically black colleges and universities. And because of their achievements in school, they was able to provide positive influences amongst black / African Americans in the early 1900s. And so when it comes to the dirty sheets and wailing sheepers, that's where a lot of the influence on the dirty sheets and wailing sheepers came from these sororities and fraternities. And also include whites. Just like the Chicago Defender newspapers, selling newspapers, not just in Chicago, but selling the newspaper around the country. And a lot of black / African Americans didn't have no education. And when it comes to reading, writing, doing math, a lot of black / African Americans didn't go to school because they had to make a living. It's a choice and decision that many black / African Americans had to make in the early 1900s. Instead of going to school, they had to go out and work in the fields. They had to go out and work in the fields to make a living instead of getting an education. So when the Chicago Defender newspaper selling newspaper outside of the city of Chicago, not just in the city of Chicago, but outside the city of Chicago, and you talking about telling black / African Americans to leave from where they were at, for example, being in the state of Tennessee, in the city of Memphis, Shelby County. You talking about leaving and going, talking about come up to Chicago, as well as other northern cities, working to find a job in one of these factories, in one of these warehouses or whatever. And so a lot of these black / African Americans in these sororities and fraternities who knew how to read, if someone was telling you to do something like that in the community, of course, black / African Americans in these sororities and fraternities who had education would have knew about it. And there was really no effort from those men and women, like the professors and things of this nature, at these historically black colleges and universities who were trying to tell you, no, don't listen to that. Because millions, we know that it was a lot, thousands, who made that choice and decision to leave the city of Memphis, as well as other locations, like in Texas and Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, in Oklahoma, who made that choice and decision to leave from where they was at and move to Chicago. And this in the early 1900s. And then when you get to this 1945 discovery of the Nagama Library, we already passed World War One, and then you get to World War II. Right at the end of World War II in 1945, as you know, the little farm boy was outside playing. And while he was outside playing, he found the Nagama Library. And so, and he gave it to his father, of course. And the little farm boy's father, who really just didn't know what his son had found, eventually he gave what his son had found to the scholars in academia at the colleges and universities around the world. The Nagama Library. Some leftover Gnostic theologian writing that should have been destroyed with the rest of that mess that didn't get destroyed. A personal person took some of that Gnostic theologian writing and wrapped it in some papyrus paper and put it in a jar and buried it in Nagama, Egypt. And so that Nagama Library is being used and misused by a lot of ignorant people and stupid people. And so and when they use and misuse, they they trying to victimize men, women, and children. They're trying to destroy wildlife, nature, and trying to destroy the environment, including the North and South Pole. This is what they do. All that poaching that you see people do, that's what they doing. Trying to destroy wildlife, trying to destroy nature, trying to destroy the environment. Including the North and South Pole. Now they're going out in outer space, trying to do the same thing, trying to destroy outer space. And what you be talking about, this gnosis, talking about some knowledge, it's just a lie. Get straight to the point. You just be going around lying. That's what all that rejected knowledge means. You had all these people walking around just talking about God, using your imagination. And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Instead of people in that period of time continuing to listen to their elders, who had passed down traditions from their elders. You just went on your own. And as you can see, all you did was just be self-destructive and destructive. Instead of listening to your elders, you just being self-destructive and being destructive. And so all this rejected knowledge and all this stuff, it's just your imagination. That's all it is, just your imagination. Because there's no such thing as no gnosis. There ain't no such thing as no knowledge in what you try to make it mean. And so all this stuff that they made up with this Gnosticism is a bunch of made up lies. The so-called Gnostics, they took what Plato wrote in his book, what people had been talking about before him. Socrates was talking about the same thing. Socrates was Plato's teacher. When you talking about some demiurge, who, according to the philosophers, was a good God, whose intent was to make a world of good. The Gnostics took the information and distorted it. And then after they distorted the information to persuade people to listen to the information, they used violence. Because the philosophers were already teaching people about the demiurge. So how is it that you're going to convert? How is it that you're going to take Plato and try to tell Plato not to listen to his own teachings? How you going to tell Plato not to listen to his own teachings? Use violence. Because the only thing Plato going to do is argue with you. Because you took his information and distorted it. So when you talk about the Gnostics, that's what you didn't say. You didn't say nothing about Plato listening to the Gnostics. That's what you didn't say. You took Plato's information that his teacher had taught him, Socrates. You took his information and distorted it. You distorted it. So when you talk about Valentinus and all these other ones, Simon, Nicholas, Basilides, all these so-called Gnostic teachers, they took information from Plato, distorted it, trying to hide in locations, and use violence. That's what they did. Disgusting, despicable acts that they done to influence people. They use violence. That's what caused a lot of problems for the dirty sheets and the wailing sheep in the city of Chicago as well as outside the city of Chicago. The Nagamon Library. Shouldn't have caused them many problems. People should have been informed about the Catholic Church. Should have been, but wasn't. Because it's really not a problem, but because people were uninformed, it became a problem. It became a problem. So the dirty sheets and the wailing sheep started the Imperial Chaplains and the 14th Street Cobras. And behind that, then you had all this other stuff to start, like the Egyptian Cobras. For example, Egyptian Cobra. Then you had all these other social clubs and stuff. that the vice lords eventually beat to a bloody pulp, being big and bad. And so, Edwin Pepperlo Perry and some more of the vice lords, the old heads, said we're going to have to stop all this negative behavior, all these negative things that's being done. A lot of young guys being misled out on the streets, in the community. So we're going to start Bootstrap, Conservative Vice Lord Incorporated. Wasn't a bad idea. It was a good idea. The old heads. A lot of the dirty sheets and the willing sheep were still around. They weren't so old that, and they hadn't gave up. You know what I'm saying? The influence that they already had. It was because some people outside the city of Chicago trying to hide behind the dirty sheets and the willing sheep was back. Going around starting stuff in other locations. Then you had people trying to come up to the city of Chicago trying to be violent and trying to use violence against the dirty sheep and the wailing sheep, against the Imperial Chapel and the 14th Street Club, against the conservative vice lord. For example, this so-called supreme gangster, this Larry Hoover guy, and then behind him, this when they had this black gangsters in the jails. Even this, what's the guy name that started the, one of the vice lord started some kind of group called the Saints or something. That guy didn't succeed. See, sometimes the guys get misled by the way you was taught and what you was taught. That's what you see today. Trying to go behind the conservative vice lord back and trying to use and misuse the Nagamine library. You don't do no more lie. A lot of little children been lied to. Just like out there in Los Angeles, California. T. Rogers came from Chicago. Him and his family moved from Chicago to Los Angeles, California. They moved out there in their neighborhood, the jungles. Got people trying to go behind the conservative vice lord back. A lot of these sororities and fraternities, a lot of these white people during that period of time, trying to go behind people's backs, trying to use and misuse the Nagamine library for influence. And then how do you influence people? With violence. You try to use violence, then you try to be violent. When you can get away with it. Now that don't mean that nobody stands up to you. Because I know it's a lot of cowards. It's a lot of cowards. A lot of individuals who are not informed, who are not educated like a lot of other people. See, out there in Los Angeles, California, they were talking about this, the avenues and some of these other stuff that was out there. And then out of that, some stupid little kid who didn't know what he was talking about ended up getting killed anyway. Talking about a gang, the baby cribs and all this. See, the only thing you're doing trying to imitate the conservative vice lord. Because see, the Black Princeton Bloods was already out there. T. Rogers was already out there. From Chicago. And out of the Black Princeton Bloods, then you got some other groups trying to go against the Crips. They call themselves the Bloods. You ain't doing nothing but imitating the conservative vice law. That's all you doing, imitate. Trying to rap. Well, you can rap all you want. Ain't nothing wrong with R&B. Ain't nothing wrong with soul music. Ain't nothing wrong with the blues or jazz. But I mean, you want to rap, make money, okay. Ain't nothing wrong with rock and roll. That's what Chuck Berry used to do. Made a lot of money too, playing rock and roll. That's what Chuck Berry did. Fats Domino. That's what a lot of black guys did. Sang rock and roll. They were very successful in rock and roll. And country music too. Charlie Pride. Nothing wrong with country music. I mean, heavy metal, rock and, But I mean, you want to ride around, you want to make money, okay. About all it's going to amount to is just some kind of money-making operation. Just making money in entertainment. Okay. But that's as far as it's going to go. You ain't doing anything nobody got to be impressed with. The conservative vice laws in Chicago. Like Crucial Conflict. And all the rest of the conservative vice laws. They're in Chicago. Bootstrap. Conservative Vice Lord Incorporated. Being revitalized. You ain't gonna never get away with trying to be disrespectful and trying to imitate, and like them supreme gangsters doing all this fabricating. You ain't gonna never get away. Never. Making that perfectly clear. You ain't gonna never get away. Conservative Vice Law Incorporated. Bootstrap is being revitalized. You ain't talking about nothing. You ain't talking about nothing. See, all the conservative vice law and all the factions. What you've been taught and the way you was taught. The Mickey Cobras, all the Mickey Cobras. See, I don't even want to go there. I don't even want to. I mean, the Cobras. Now they being called the Mickey Cobras. Because you know why? Get straight to the point. You know the reason why? Because the Nagamon Library and the man who was the leader of the Cobras was killed, was murdered. They don't want to forget Mickey. So now they call them the Mickey Cobras. See, that Nagamon Library, there's a lot of people been victimized because of the Nagamon Library. They on 21 bricks. It wasn't supposed to be nothing like that. And the people who tried to go behind Jeff Ford back tried to lie to him, as well as all the rest of the 21 bricks. But see, it wasn't that they did nothing wrong. It was the wrong that other people tried. You tried to lie to Jeff Ford as well as all the others. You tried to lie. Just like the Black Disciples. King David was a little kid. The Black Disciples. You try to go around trying to lie to little children. You try to victimize men, women, and children. Look at King David Bosdale and all the other little kids when they formed the Black Disciples. He was a child. You ain't gonna tell me that you're not trying to victimize little kids Look at King David Bosdale. He was a child. You lied to that little child. And all the rest of the little kids. You lied. You lied. You tried to hurt that little child. And all the other little children. You tried to hurt the little children by lying. Trying to victimize innocent men, women, and children. You ain't gonna tell me. That's exactly what your ass be trying to do. Trying to hurt little children. The Black Disciples. King David Bosdale. And then all this supreme gangster mess walk around. Who the hell need? I mean, the conservative vice lord were going around being big and bad. Hell, they had beat everybody. Who the hell is a supreme gangster? I'm telling you like this, man. If it was ever a time in my life I wanted to be mad, this is a time I want to be mad. I want to be mad. I don't like it. And I don't take it. I don't take it. But see, I ain't gonna never forget my dad and my mom. Never. I'ma always love and respect my dad, Chester Johnson Jr. And I'ma always love and respect my mother, Annabelle Johnson. Always. You ain't gonna never, ever think you got away. No, you ain't get away. It's like I tell you all the time. I know them damn police cars riding around. And so I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. But I know you try to go behind my daddy back, try to go behind my mama back, trying to use the nag my library. And no, you ain't getting away with talking about going behind my damn back. No, you ain't doing that. Them damn police cars riding around, because it ain't nothing I'm taking. You did the right thing to run and hide. You did the right thing to run and hide. Because Eric ain't taking nothing. Ain't taking nothing off you. You did the right thing. Run and hide. You did the right thing. Because when I'm walking around today, God damn it, I'm not no pushover. God damn it, I'm walking around big and bad. Get straight to the point. I'm walking around big and bad. I don't give a damn. I ain't scared of nobody. I'm not afraid of nobody. Not afraid of nobody. So, but like I said, you try to use the Nagamon library to victimize innocent men, women, and children. That's wrong, man. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. And then, man, with all that black gangster mess, then later on, talking about some damn new breed, damn well. Man, look. The vice lord, they had beat everybody. Edwin Pepperlo Perry was sitting around with some more guy, and he looking around himself, and he see and he's sitting here and he can see what the vice lords are doing to other people. Being big and bad. They wiped out everybody else. There wasn't nobody left. Wasn't nobody left to beat. There wasn't nobody left to beat up. You weren't going to challenge the vice lord. You were not going to challenge any of the conservative vice. You was not going to challenge because there wasn't nobody left. But Evan Pebble Perry and the rest of the guys was out there, the old heads. Put all your money together. Take all the money that you got and start some legitimate business. The African Line and Taste the Freeze, for example. Wasn't a bad idea. It was a good idea. Just like today. It's a damn good idea. See, there again. What you teach and how you teach. That's what the key. What you teach, and then once you establish what you teach, is then how you going to teach what's needed to be taught. To the conservative vice lord as well as to all the factions. First thing you don't need to do is be sitting around letting no damn supreme gangsters walk their ass around in the city of Chicago. Because that's what I ain't going to never be quiet about. You ain't got no business walking your ass around in the city of Chicago. I just told you. Trying to use the Nagamine library to victimize innocent men, women, and children. You ain't gonna never get away. Never. It's gonna be animosity. Animosity. Just like it is right now. The only reason why your ass is walking around in Chicago, I'm telling you, is because I'm sitting down here in the city of Memphis. Now, if I were, I can get in my car right now and just say, forget going to work, just drive on up to Chicago and come on up to Chicago and handle my business. You better not never walk your ass around, never again, and think I don't want to get you, because I will. I ain't got no respect, no love, or nothing for you. Only thing I want to do is kill you. I'm associated and I'm affiliated with Vice Lord. I'm a GD killer, glazed donut killer, goofy killer. I'm not your damn friend. You better not never think I'm your friend, because I'm not. I'm going to kill you. I'm telling you, I'm going to kill you. I'm a GD killer. I ain't going, man. Because see, when I'm talking about bootstrap and conservative vice lord incorporated, man, it ain't no way in hell I'm going to ever let anybody say you still walking around. Because when I hear that, nah. I'm going to clean the city of Chicago up. You better know this. God damn it, it ain't no way in hell you'll ever be able to do that ever again. And nobody else. Talking about some Crip gangs and blood gang, I'm telling you, it's going to be a bloodbath on the street. Never. Never. Even in the city of Los Angeles, just like I told you. Just take one step at a time. And I'm going to show you. You ain't going to never get away. Never. Never. From this day forward, you'll never get away. Never. It's going to always be animosity. Always. I ain't going, man. I ain't going. You ain't gonna never do that. Never. Ain't nobody gonna never do that. Never. Talking about you gonna start no gang. Oh, hell no. Talking about some drug gang. No, absolutely not. No. Eric big and bad. Eric big and bad. See, this when I started working out and doing all kinds. See, I done got to the point now. I ain't got to worry about picking up the Bible, nothing else. Now it's time to handle business. See? See, the details in the painting that Raphael did. The title of the painting, The School of Athens. It's a fresco by the Italian Renaissance artist Raphael. It said the fresco was painted between 1509 and 1511 is a part of Raphael's commission to decorate the rooms now known as the Stanza di Raffaello in the Apostolic Palace in the Vatican. And when we talk about the Vatican, that's where the Pope of the Catholic Church, or the Roman Catholic Church, resides in Italy. And it depicts a congregation of philosophers, mathematicians, and scientists from ancient Greece, including Plato and Aristotle. Aristotle is Plato's student. Pythagoras, Archimedes, and Heraclitus. The Italian artists Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo are also featured in the painting, shown as Plato and Heraclitus, respectively. And so, when you see Plato, there's some details in the painting. First of all, there's a book that Plato was holding. That's his book, titled Timaeus or Timaeus. And the book is talking about the demiurge. And you see his finger is pointing up. And there's also in the painting is a picture of Aristotle. And when you see based on the details of the painting, he's holding a book that he wrote called Ethics. And again, Aristotle is Plato's student. But you see his hand is pointing down. It's pointing down. See, these are the details. And then when you ask a person about it, what does it mean? Why did Raphael have Aristotle's finger pointed up? And why is Aristotle's hand going down? It says that aspects of the fresco other than the identity of the figures have also been variously interpreted, but few such interpretations are unanimously accepted among scholars that the rhetorical gestures of Plato and Aristotle are kinds of pointing to the heavens and down to earth. It's properly accepted as likely. However, Plato's Timaeus, which is the book Raphael's placed in his hand, was a sophisticated treatment of space, time, and change, including the earth, which guided mathematical science for over a millennium. Aristotle, with his four elements theory, held that all change on earth was owing to motions of the heavens. In the painting, Aristotle carries his ethics, which he denied could be reduced to a mathematical science. It is not certain how much the young Raphael knew of ancient philosophy, what guidance he might have had from people such as Bramante, and whether a detailed program was dictated by his sponsor, Pope Julius II. See, so conservative vice lord incorporate bootstrap. Bootstrap is being revitalized. And it's the right thing to do. Just like the old heads told. Take every penny that you have and pool it together. You don't need any federal, state, or local support from the government. Just take every penny that you have, pool it together, and start businesses, legitimate business. Now, during that period of time, a lot of laws were different. Because we know today, federal, state, and local government, all this stuff about marijuana. We already know that. It's a different day and time. There's a lot of laws have changed. You understand? You can't even turn the TV on or the radio on without all this reality TV. There was a time when you couldn't even say damn on television. It was a time you couldn't even say damn on television. But now, today, federal, state, and local laws have changed. Reality TV, laws have changed. But when it comes to bootstrap, entertainment, Conservative by Law Incorporated, Tasty Freeze. It's a good idea. I mean, being realistic, I ain't never had no Tasty Freeze, so why would it be a bad idea? That's the first thing that you ought to remember. Oh, come on, man. Everybody eat ice cream. I can go up to the street but look, being Vice Lord, being affiliated, associated with Vice Lord, you're going to support Conservative Vice Lord Incorporated. The Black Princeton going to support Conservative Vice Lord Incorporated because it means the same thing. Because that's what it is. The Black Disciple going to support Conservative Vice Lord Incorporated. The Souls, the Boss Pimps, they're going to support Conservative Vice Lord Incorporated. As well as all the other folks and my people, they're going to support Conservative Vice Lord Incorporated because it means the same thing. It means the same thing. It's just as important to them as it is to the Conservative Vice Lord Incorporated, to the Vice, it's just as important. It is. Because right gonna always prevail over wrong. Truth gonna stand. And a lie gonna fail. When you standing on right, it's just like the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is still standing today. Because you standing on God's word. The truth gonna stand. So it ain't no reason for you to be paranoid or the African lion coming back. Taste the Freeze coming back. But see, in this day and time, you got all your Hispanic Latinos, just like the Latin kings and queens, for example, coming from Puerto Rico. Then you got all these Dominicans coming from Dominican Republic. You got people coming from Cuba, living here in the United States of America. All these different cultures and customs. You got all these people from Mexico, coming from Central America, South America, coming to the United States of America. One common thing they all have, they speak Spanish. But people live in different locations. They have different ideas about culture and customs. People have a variety of ways to dress. Because they don't all live in the same location. And I don't even want to get into food. You got people that talk about tacos and burritos from Mexico. But everybody ain't from Mexico. You have people from Puerto Rico. You have people from Dominican Republic. You have people from Cuba. And to be honest with you, I'm going to tell you something, man. It could be a piece of bread. You could take a slice of white bread. And you might say the same daggum thing in Cuba, speaking Spanish. And then you go to the Dominican Republic, you'll see a slice of bread. And then you go to Puerto Rico. See, in these different locations, you know what I'm saying? People have culture and customs when it comes to bread. And see, in the city of Chicago, you have all these Hispanic and Latino. See, when you pool you take every penny that you have, you pool your resources, and you start legitimate business. Not saying that you trying to run anybody else, because you are everybody, any and everybody. Not saying nobody can't start no individual thing, but still, you, like the old heads, take every penny that you have, and pool your resources together, and start legitimate business. See, in this community, see, it's a ripple effect of trying to do positive things in the community. It's going to be a ripple effect. Good going to always prevail over bad. You got people coming from Haiti, living in the United States of America, speaking French. That's Latin. They have culture and customs. Now you got a lot of people coming from sub-Saharan Africa, coming from North Africa, living in the United States of America. People coming from all over the world, living here in the United States of America. You take every penny that you have, pool your resources together, and start legitimate business. You got what I've been saying on my video recently. I've been saying over and over again. You got all these people from East Asia, Japanese, Koreans, people from Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, Myanmar, all these different places. Mongolia, China, coming to the United States of America. People from Central Asia coming to the United States of America. See, it's a different day and time, but the whole idea that the old heads is not a bad idea. See, the only thing you did is just lie to other people. The dirty sheets and the wedding sheep didn't do anything wrong. You just went behind their back, went out there to Los Angeles, California, talking about some avenues. You ain't talking about nothing, you know what I'm saying? You ain't saying nothing that anybody got paying attention to. All you did was just took the Nagamon library and lied. Then went around trying to be violent. The Blood Gang and the Crip Gang get into a war. Trying to be violent and trying to use violence. Ain't nothing but a bunch of imitators. See, when people start seeing you for what you really are, and when you see bootstrap, conservative, vice law incorporated, people outside of the city of Los Angeles, California is not going to have no respect for you. And like I've been saying all the time, recruit. Expose them for lying. Expose the so-called Crip Gang for being a bunch of liars and imitators. Expose the so-called Blood Gang for being a bunch of liars and imitators. People see you for what you are. A bunch of nobodies trying to use the Nagamon library to lie to innocent men, women, and children. People see you for what you are. Like I said, recruit, man. Go to the elementary school, the junior high school, the high school. Recruit. Recruit. Bootstrap. Conservative Vice Law Incorporated being revitalized as we speak right now. Right now. legitimate business right now. The conservative vice lord in Chicago, and all the factions in Chicago right now, bootstrap. Conservative vice lord incorporated is being revitalized as we speak. As we speak right now. See, what you teach and how you teach is what's being emphasized. What you teach and how you teach. Conservative vice lord in all the facts. What you teach and how you teach. Conservative vice bootstrap. Conservative vice lord incorporated is being revitalized as we speak. See, legitimate business. It's a good idea. Let me say this about a business. Not a bad idea. Taste the free, not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. In the African line, but don't forget, like I said, like we just talking, African line. At that time, during that period of time, and even today, the African line is not a bad idea. When you talk about fashion design, it's not a bad idea. But don't forget, you got a lot of people from sub-Saharan Africa coming to America. And now, today, you got Asian, East Asian. When you say Asian, you got a lot of people in India living in America. From Pakistan, Afghanistan, all the problems they're having in Afghanistan. You got people who have left Afghanistan, now living in the United States. Now look what happened. The Ukraine. Look what happened. Because of a war. Look what happened today. In 1 year, how many people from the Ukraine have been displaced and now are living in the United States of America? And probably not going to go back. It wouldn't, but now they living here in the United States of America. That's today. That's today. They speak Russian or, they speak their Slavic language. They have culture and customs that they brought over from that part of the world, including Russians. And living in Illinois, living in the city of Chicago. See, in this day and time, the African line is not a bad idea. But in addition to that, take every penny that you have. Take every penny that you have. Like the old head said, pool your resources. Pool your resources. This today, it ain't a bad idea. The African line, not a bad idea. Because then and now, it's not a bad idea. Because think about it. When you talk about the African line, you see how I'm online. People can do things online. They can order stuff online. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. And when it comes to Taste Free, you can continue to advertise, and you got Vice Lord in all these different locations. It's not a bad idea. Because you got Vice Lords who regularly travel from where they at, like in Alabama or Louisiana, and then they'll come up to Chicago, and while they're in Chicago, they're going to stop at Taste Free. Then you got the people that in the city of Chicago, they support Taste Free, as well as other businesses. But they're going to always support Taste Free. It's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Now, let's just take lawn service. It's not a bad idea. Because, see, you want to build relationships in the community. You want to build a relationship with people in the community. You want to be available to the people in the community. So when it comes to lawn service, it's not a bad idea. Because it's not just about money. It's about the community. And when you have relationships with people in the community, it's not that you're trying to monopolize, but it's the relationship that you have with the people in the community. That's the reason why it's a good idea to have a lawn service, because it's not just about making money. It's about building a relationship with the people in your community. It could be an individual walking, might just say, hey, you get somebody over here to cut my lawn or to edge my lawn. Okay. I send somebody over there. Okay. We got a lawn service. They on their way. I need somebody in the fall, winter. I got trees. The leaves fall. Can you get some guys over? Can your lawn service do my lawn? Of course. But then there's other lawn service. But still, you want to have a relationship with people in the community. You want people to be on their mouth. You want people to be able to say Conservative Vice Lord Incorporated, Bootstrap. It's in their mouth. It's not just something that people don't know what you're talking about. They in the city of Chicago, you want people to know Bootstrap. Conservative Vice Lord Incorporated. I know what you're talking about. I know the address. I got the phone in the yellow page. Conservative Vice Lord Incorporated, and then they got all these different businesses. They do business with people in the community, at the school, a lawn service. Some of the people that work for the school system, when they looking for somebody to do business with to cut the lawn, not only do they do business with other people, but who else are they going to do business with? They're going to do business with Conservative Vice Lord Incorporated. But that's the key. It's the people, the community. You build a relationship with the people in the community. See, on that level, you talking about getting a contract or something. Not saying that it depends on, but it's the relationship you have with the people in the community. People who work for the government, who live in the community, they see the positive things you do in the community. Not saying you dependent on them, but that's what end up happening. Because of the relationship you have with people in the community, I guarantee you somebody gonna give you a call, say, can you come over here and cut the lawn and do the hedges? Can you come over here and get these leaves? Of course, yeah. That's because you got a relationship. Now, of course, you're talking about doing hair. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. Because there again, it's a business. It's business. Making money. It's a different type of business, but still service. Now, you can't run other people out of business and then have a big crowd of people waiting to get their hair cut. That's not the relationship that you have with people in the community. Of course, it's not a bad idea to have a barber and a beautician. It's not a bad idea. Not at all. See, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. In business, first of all, you got to be smart. When it comes to making money and handling money, you got to be smart. If you got a barber, you got a beautician, you're going to have customers. It's not the idea of trying to get this big crowd of people. But if you got somebody to do, because you think about it. Let's just say you got people that come up to the city of Chicago. Now, you know as well as I do. You got vice lords outside the city of Chicago. What they going to do? First thing they going to do, what they going to do? They gonna look. First thing they gonna do, because they coming from another location. Who they gonna look? They gonna look for vice lords. It's not a bad idea to have a barber and a beautician year round. And like I've been telling you, you got all these Puerto Ricans, Hispanics living in the city. You got all these people from East Asia, South Asia, living in the city of Chicago, living in the state of Illinois, as well as surrounding states. And when they start hearing about all this stuff, and when you done completely annihilated, when you done completely eliminated the glazed donut, when you done got all them goofies up out the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois, you draw people. It draws people's attention. It draws people. People come to the city of Chicago. It's not a bad idea to have a licensed barber, a licensed beautician. Not necessarily only African American or black. You got a lot of Hispanic, Latino living in the city of Chicago, in the state of like all them Latin kings and queens. All these white women, white men walking around. It's not a bad idea to have a licensed barber and beautician. Not only a black or African American, male or female. Because you got people from various cultures and customs living in the city of Chicago. Not a bad idea. Not driving other people out of business. It's a good idea. Because you want to have a relationship with people in the community. That's what you want to have. And when you have a relationship with people in the community, you don't have to worry about making money. Because people going to come and do business with you because you got a good relationship with the people in the community. That's what you want to have. You want to have a positive relationship with the people in your community. Not a bad idea. And what, like we were talking about, all these different cultures and customs. You got all these people from East Asia with all these Japanese and their food variety of dishes and things of nature, restaurants and things of nature. From Korea, from China, from Vietnam, Laos and Cambodia, from Thailand, from Myanmar, from Indonesia, Malaysia, hell, even people from Hawaii, Guam, Samoa. People travel today. People jump on an airplane, they get on a bus. People drive their own cars. People move around. People travel. People be on trains. They'll leave from where they was at and they'll end up in Chicago. They'll be somewhere in the state of Illinois. And from them other parts of the state of Illinois, they come back and forth to the city of Chicago. It's a relationship that people have with other people. It's a relationship people have. And you want to foster that relationship. You don't want nobody walking around, not understanding, bootstrap, and conservative vice law incorporated. Because first of all, you're not doing anything wrong. You're doing what's right. You're cleaning up the sidewalk. You're cleaning up the environment, picking up paper, picking up all them plastic straws, and putting them in the trash where they belong. Not throwing them out in the water, hurting the animals. But you cleaning up all these aluminum cans, all this paper. The city's car look totally different. Because you're doing a positive thing in the community. You build a positive relationship with the people in the community. You make money. Then you have all these ideas. Entertainment. Again, entertainment. Look at the social media. Social media. television, radio. You know, bootstrap, conservative vice law incorporated. What make you think that's a bad idea? You see it every day. Crucial conflict and all the rest of the conservative vice law. What make you think that'll be a bad idea? It can't. It's not. The bad idea is for you not to pool your resources together and not be in entertainment. That's a bad idea. That's the bad idea. The good idea is to take crucial conflict and all the rest of them. All the rest of them. And be in entertainment. Come take all that you got and build on it. That's a good idea, to be in entertainment. Because that's what the old heads told you. To be a positive influence in the community. It's a good idea. To be on television, to be in radio, to be in the music industry, to be in the entertainment industry. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. See, what you teach and how you teach. That's what you emphasize. That's what the old heads told you. Instead of telling you to go out and continue to be big and bad after you done already beat it ain't nobody left. It wasn't going to teach you that no more. See, what you teach and then how you teach. The old head said, look, we're not going to do that no more. So they're not going to teach you just to be big and bad, just to defend yourself, to just be aggressive. Not going to just teach you that. But I'm going to teach you how to be a citizen. How to abide by the law. And how to make the laws work for you. Not just how to go and stab nobody, how to shoot nobody, how to evade the police, but how to build a business. How to create opportunities for yourself. What you teach and how you teach. Not a bad idea to be in entertainment. That's the right thing to do. That's what the old heads told you. To do what's right. Be a legitimate business. And that's a legitimate business. You ain't breaking no laws. You're not committing no crime. It's a legitimate business. You see so many, you see so many opportunities. But business in general, you have to be smart. You have to know the market and things of that nature. First of all, you have to know money. You have to know, you know what I'm saying? You have to know math. There's so many things that changed. All these new inventions and things. Some things become obsolete. The new thing that's coming out today, they've been talking about this artificial intelligence. Years ago, it was an idea. It was just an idea years ago. Now look. Now today, artificial intelligence is here. See, it's going to come a day when Bootstrap, Conservative Vice Law Incorporated, it's just like the stock market and the NASDAQ and all that. See, you take one penny. You take every penny that you have, Pool your resources together. And pool your resources together. See, not only do you become a stockholder, but you become a stakeholder. When you pool all your resources together. See, that's business. That's business. See, so many things, all these different ideas will start. See, when you start talking about bootstrap, conservative, vice lord, corporate, it be so many different ideas being. And a lot of times, it's not necessarily there's a bad idea. Sometimes you have to know the market too. And then you have to say, well, what's your intent? Is it just going to be local? Or is it going to be not only local, but you're going to also, just like, for example, entertainment. Entertainment can never be just local. It couldn't. I mean, you might be based locally, but entertainment is too broad. It could never just be local, no matter what kind of entertainment. It could be theater. It could be dance. Because you can't survive just locally. Not like that. That should never be your intent. Your intent should always be to expand. You don't want people not to see you dance. It could be ballet, or it could be modern dance or whatever. But you just couldn't, you just couldn't say I'm just gonna be. It wouldn't make sense. You don't want people to enjoy the art. That would be defeating the purpose. Because art is for people to enjoy. You go tour. That wouldn't make sense. That'll be defeating the purpose. People enjoy seeing the ballet. Not just in Memphis, but people in Arkansas, they enjoy the ballet. They would love to see you come over to Arkansas, not just in Memphis, to do the ballet or do modern dance. People in Mississippi, they enjoy ballet too. What make you think they hear it and it be like, say what? Somebody doing ballet in Memphis? Are they when you gonna come to when you gonna come to Mississippi? Or when you gonna come to Louisiana? See, a lot of people enjoy ballet and all the other forms of dance. That's the reason why it would never make sense to just be locally. It wouldn't make sense. But see, that's the business part of it. I mean, if you were trying to make a living, why would you even want to be just in Memphis? It would never work. Because eventually what'll happen is this. People that sing you so much that they wouldn't want to pay to keep seeing you every, it wouldn't make sense. Then you would be sitting around in the same location trying to come up with all these different, it wouldn't work. You run your own self out of business. It wouldn't work. See, that's the thing about business. You got to always be innovative. You got to always come up with some kind of idea to keep the business going because of competition. Because of competition. And then when you talk about competition, you got all these inventions that make business competitive. It just wouldn't make sense. Some things, it could be a good idea, but being a practical business, it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't make sense. instead of being a good investment, it turns out to be a bad investment. It wouldn't make sense. You have to, that's when you come business management. You have to know how to handle money. You got to know, know the market, first of all. And then when you see the market, you have to be practical. You have to use common sense sometimes. Sometimes it's just a common sense thing. I mean, it's not a bad idea to start a restaurant, but you have to be realistic. It's very competitive. Very competitive. And people always come up with the same idea. Everybody got the same idea. I'm talking about everywhere you go, everybody got the same idea to try to feed somebody else. And it's just the variety. I'm gonna tell you that the variety will keep a lot of businesses open. And then people from all these different locations around the world, they create all these dishes, and they use the same vegetables, and the same meat: beef, pork, chicken, now turkey. But people still use the same, They still use the same products to be in business. Beef, pork, chicken, now turkey. To have a restaurant. And then people have these variety of ways to use beef, to use pork, to use chicken and turkey. A variety of ways from around the world. That will keep businesses going. Is the variety. Because just opening a restaurant and you think you're going to sell hamburgers, some places not even open no more. But what kept a lot of businesses open is that they had to be creative. They couldn't just sell hamburgers anymore. When you go to McDonald's today, you get chicken nuggets. And you get a chicken sandwich. See, they couldn't just sell hamburgers anymore. In order to compete, they had to sell chicken nuggets, and they had to have a chicken patty, and then they had to have a fish fillet sandwich to stay in business. They can't just sell French fries no more. You can't, because it's so much competition. Now you got to be creative with the French fries because there's so much competition. But I mean, like that old saying, they say competition is what drives business. Yeah, it do. But being competitive, you have to be creative. Now you think about the cheeseburger. Some restaurants be creative with the cheese, like Arby's. And then Wendy's do the same thing. They got the different kind of cheese, cheddar cheese, that they put on their burgers. That's what Wendy's do. In order for them to compete with McDonald's, they offer you a different kind of cheese. What they call it? Abacha or something? Sriracha, something like that. Then cheddar cheese, of course. But that's they had to come up with something different, to be creative with a hamburger. Because just selling cheeseburger, I mean, any and everybody because do the same thing. A cheeseburger or a hamburger. Any and everybody can do that. And basically they do. Even some of the chicken places, you can still go, some of the chicken places you can get a hamburger with fries and in a drink. They had to compete. You just can't in the restaurant business, you just can't offer your customers just that one item. You got to have a variety. If you go to a Chinese restaurant, I'm telling you, you just can't, just because you sell rice, you get wings too. See, that's the way the business. You can't survive just on selling Chinese rice. Because other restaurants, some other, they do the same thing. But being in business, they can't design the restaurant. It'll cost money to try to add all these different things in the back there where they do the cooking. So they can't, you see what I'm talking about? They can't have a grill in there to do rice at McDonald's. Because the way they built the place is built for burgers. If they even consider something, they have to change the whole restaurant design to add rice to the menu. And then, just like Captain D, they had to change their whole restaurant design if they try to offer, but still, they try to still be creative to compete with McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger King, because that's the competition. Because when it comes down to it in business, when you the fish place, McDonald's have a fish sandwich. Some people wouldn't even consider going to Captain D's, but Captain D's got a menu. When you looking for something, when you're not going to McDonald's and you want to go to Captain D's, you go to Captain D's because they don't just have fish fillets. They have catfish. They have tilapia. And then they got the crab cakes. They got the lobster cakes now. See, they give you a variety. And then they got to compete with the pizza place. They might not offer a lot of things, but you are not think they don't be thinking about it. Then what a lot of restaurants, they think about the competition. They be thinking about the competition. The pizza place. Pizza Hut. And what's the other? Domino's. And the other one. Papa John's. All them. See, there's competition. It's competition. That's when it comes competitive. The competition. It ain't just the other pizza place. It's the fact that Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's. Now you got Checkers and Hardee's and all that. And Zaxby's and all that. Arby's. That's the competition. Instead of you going to Domino's, you went over to Wendy's. And vice versa. But see, in business, you trying to get the people to not go over there. You want them people to come over and get some pizza. That's what competition means. It's not just a single competitor, the other pizza place, but it's all these other places that sell food. Subway. They competing with Domino's for money. Long John Silver's. Then you got all these other restaurants and things. The barbecue place. The barbecue place got a variety of dishes on their menu. But see, that's business. It's not a bad idea. Don't never think it's a bad idea. You just have to look around the community and just see from an investment point of view, like the old head said, take all your resources and pool it together. It wasn't a bad idea. That's how a lot of businesses got started. Because some people took their resources and put it together and started a business. A lot of family-owned businesses started that way. It's not a bad idea to pool your resources. Not a bad idea. Now, it's the bad idea is when you don't make good business decisions. That's when it becomes a bad idea. When you done took all the resources and then you went over to the strip club, now, of course that's a bad idea. Now, wait a minute now. Now, you're not going to take resources and come on. Now, look. Entertainment. I'm not going to even say anything. From a business point of view, let me put this out there. Something like that. Financial, from a business point of view, I would never pool my resources together with all these different people. And even this is the reason why. Don't never depend on nobody to be sitting around late at night to do what you suggest, thinking that a lot of people got a lot of money to just throw away. Now, individual, if you want to take that risk, if you want to take the risk of opening up some kind of establishment of that nature, an individual, you can do that on your own. But when you pool your resources together, don't make it sound like you got a foolproof plan for something like of that nature. Don't think you're going to be trying to depend on people to come late at night, every night, and to throw their money away. Don't depend on nothing like that. And throw your money away. And spend your money on alcohol and throwing your money away. Don't depend on that. Talking about pool your resources. See, this is when you have to have good business sense. When you pool your resources together, you have to make sensible decisions. Like a lawn service. Not a bad idea. Because you want to make sure you build relationships in the community. Not a bad idea. Having a barber, a beautician, it's not a bad idea. Just like doing nails. When you got, how many people live in the city of Chicago? The second most populous city in America. It ain't nowhere in the world you're going to say that's a bad idea to have a nail shop. It ain't nowhere in here. You got over 2 million people living in the city of Chicago, as well in the state of Illinois. People coming from Wisconsin, people coming from Indianapolis, people coming from other parts of the state of Illinois. It's not a bad idea. It ain't nowhere in the world you can say that's a bad idea. Talking about doing fingernails and toenails, ain't nowhere in the world you can say that. Ain't no way. That's a damn good idea. I mean, you know, now that's good business sense. Just based on the number of people living in the city of Chicago. That's a damn good idea. A nail shop, doing fingernails and toenails, that's a damn good idea. See, that's the relationship you have with people in the community. Because think about the people the women who come to get their fingernails and toenails done. You have a relationship with people in the community. That's a damn good idea. That's a damn good investment. How many? Over 500,000 people living in the city of Chicago. That's a damn good idea. Take every penny you have and open legitimate business. That's a damn good idea. Now that other idea you thought about, I just told you. And don't depend on nobody to be sitting around late at night buying drinks, getting drunk, and throwing their money away. Don't depend on nobody doing that. No, every night, late at night. That's not a good business. Pooling your resources together. Now, individual, that's what an individual do. But when you pool your resources together, that's not the. No. Not on nothing like that. Bootstrap. Conservative Vital Incorporated being revitalized as we speak. Not a bad idea. But see, you had to look at things from a business point of view and say, yeah, okay, yeah. Trying to be convenient, that creates a lot of opportunities, you know. And so, you know, have a plan, of course. Then have a backup plan. But be sensible. Be sensible. You know? Be sensible. It's a lot of good ideas. Just, you know, you have to be realistic too. You have to be realistic. There's a lot of good ideas, you know. You just have to be realistic. You know? Just like in the restaurant business. It ain't never a bad idea. It just had to be realistic. It's very competitive. Very competitive. And a lot of businesses start and being realistic, they don't last long. It's just being realistic because the competition is so fierce. You know what I'm saying? And the restaurant business is so fierce that even if you pool your money together, it ain't no guarantee that, you know, you can depend on people to spend their own money on a regular basis going out to eat. Because there's so many varieties of food. You'd be sitting around trying to think of some kind of way to try to outsmart everybody else. You'd be thinking that you can offer people all these varieties of foods and then think you can't do that. It just ain't gonna work. When there are other things that you can be doing, you know, and then continue to support the businesses that are already in the community. And to make those businesses, you know, profitable for the community. That's the other thing you do. When you already have business, you continue to attract businesses to your community. You want to make sure those businesses are benefiting the people in the community. Providing jobs, tax base, and even supporting charities in the community. Bootstrap, Conservative Vital Incorporated is coming back. What time is it? Yeah. It's coming back. It's already being revitalized as we speak. Now, before I end today's video, I'm gonna look at a Russian newspaper, the TASS Russian news agency. Now you know CNN and Fox, they claiming that the Ukrainians are trying to launch a counter offensive. You see, there you go. Now, so according to the TASS Russian news agency, what's the name? Today, it says that the title of this article is "Kremlin Sees Heroism of Russian Soldiers Repelling Ukraine's Counter-Offensive." You know, Russian President Vladimir Putin said earlier that the offensive itself is not successful due to the courage of Russian soldiers, and that the Kremlin sees the heroism and tenacity of Russian soldiers who are repelling Ukrainian counter-offensive attempts. Russian Presidential Press Secretary Dmitry Peskov said on Sunday, "It's about the heroism and tenacity of our soldiers. We see how they are fighting," said in an interview with the Moscow Kremlin Putin program on the Russia 1 television channel. Russian President Vladimir Putin said earlier that Ukraine had launched a counter-offensive. He noted that despite the fact that the Kyiv regime had deployed strategic reserve, its offensive was unsuccessful, thanks to the heroism of Russian soldiers. He also drew attention to Ukraine's enormous losses, which exceeded classical figures of 3-1. The Russian Defense Ministry reported that since June 4th, Ukrainian forces have been making failed counteroffensive attempts, suffering losses in manpower and hardware. On June 6th, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said that over the past 3 days, the Russian military repelled all of Ukraine's attempts to launch its long-promised offensive. Ukraine lost up to 3,715 men, 259 tanks and armored combat vehicles, 134 trucks, 48 field artillery guns, and more than 50 drones. Bloomberg said that the West acknowledges the huge losses suffered by the Ukrainian army. Meanwhile, the Politico newspaper wrote, citing senior U.S. officials, that figure support for Kyiv hinges on the success of its counteroffensive. Well, that's enough. But like I said, when you watch CNN and Fox, of course you know they lie. They don't they don't tell you the truth. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That's next weekend. Well, you know, next Sunday is Father's Day, of course. Yeah. It's next Sunday. Father's Day is that's next Sunday, y'all. But like I said, I'm gonna get ready to end today's video. And again, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis, in the county of Shelby, state of Tennessee. And of course, I thank all my family, my support for your continued courage, support, and always put God first. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Thank for all the blessings and the guidance that our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Son of God, blesses us with. And Bootstrap, Conservative Vice Law Incorporated, is being revitalized as we speak. Rejecting knowledge Rejecting knowledge. Rejecting knowledge. Rejecting knowledge. Esoteric and exoteric. Esoteric and exoteric. Esoteric. Break it down to syllables. Esoteric. Esoteric. Break it down to syllables. Esoteric. Exoteric. Now break it down to syllables. Exoteric. 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 Break it down to syllables.
crock pot. It's addictive, Tim. You know, just being outdoors and the things nature provides for you. If you get started at it, it's right at
The type of breeds or what you're looking for. Squirrel Dog Central is one of the main communication pipelines that there is for the squirrel hunter today.
You see him, Tim? He's still up there. We just can't find him. There's a few leaves on. Rusty did his job. You know, we've got enough for the crock pot. It's addictive, Tim. You know, just being outdoors and the things nature provides for you. If you get started at it at the right age, it never leaves you. Most everybody loves a dog. You know, take a dog with you.
So that was one. Squirrel hunting with the dog. our raccoon hunting. We got squirrel hunting, raccoon hunting with the hounds. out there hunting rabbits with the hounds.
nights are good here. Swallow that noise, mate. Won't be far. Oh, look at that. Nice blood trail. It's out of the lungs. on that screen. They ain't checking up. I put my truck out there now.
You know, like I said, I'm getting ready to end today's video. But you know, when you do all this hunting, a lot of times people use dogs to hunt. And when you hunt with the dogs, when you do your hunting with the dogs, you know, they go out and get all this meat, all this squirrel meat, all this raccoon meat, all this rabbit meat, all this deer meat, and all these birds that the hunters hunt, like ducks, mallards, teals, pheasants, goose, and geese. And then the dogs, you know, they help the hunters to get all this meat. Now, you know, of course, we as humans, we like squirrels. We like to eat squirrels and raccoons and rabbits and deer. So when you talking about cooking, you know, when you're talking about cooking the squirrels and the raccoons and the rabbits and the deer, you know, you got to know all these different parts of the body that you can eat and can't eat and all that, and what to do with the parts that you don't eat, and including then once you know discard all this fur, and, you know, when you throw away all the fur and all the other parts of the body that you don't eat. But the thing about it also, the dog like squirrel meat, rabbit meat, raccoon meat, and deer meat, because they come from a wolf, you know, and all that dogs, they scavenge, just like a cat. Cats and dogs are scavengers. You mess around and leave it out there, you shoot one of them and leave a cat sitting around, you shoot a squirrel, that cat gonna eat that squirrel. He gonna eat that raccoon, you leave it sitting there, you shoot him and you leave it sitting there, that cat gonna eat that. If you don't get it, I mean, you know, the cat, if you put a cat out there in the wild, of course, the cat gonna survive. He'll attack the birds and everything else that's out there. But I mean, if you as a hunter, I mean, you kill a raccoon and you see a cat, a house cat, the cat will look at you and, you know, after he'll look at you and you mess around and leave that raccoon there. And that cat gonna eat that raccoon. He gonna eat that rabbit. He gonna eat that deer. He gonna walk right on over there. He gonna look at you first and see what you gonna do. You don't have to get into a fight and mess around and shoot him. But you leave that meat there, that cat, he gonna eat it. And of course, if you have a cat, you're talking about a duck and a goose or a geese, that cat gonna eat it. And the dog, you don't just go out there and fetch after you done shot whatever you done shot, but that dog, he'll eat that bird meat. Just like you eat that bird meat, that dog gonna eat that bird meat, that cat, they'll eat that bird meat. And see, it's a point in all this. The way people do things, you know, they do things in a way where they just do things for themselves. People love to hunt, and then they'll go out and hunt. They'll hunt squirrel, and they'll take the squirrel home, and there ain't nobody there, just them. And then they'll have about 4 or 5 squirrels, and then they'll prepare it, and, you know, they'll cook it for themselves. And the rabbit, and the raccoon, and the deer, as well as all these different birds that we as humans eat. But see, that's a thing that when you talking about business, you know, not something that you shouldn't consider. You understand? Squirrels and raccoons and rabbits, deer, as well as these different birds that we as humans eat, as well as not. It's also something that should be considered is that the cats and the dogs, they eat what we eat. That's the point. Whatever we as humans eat, the dog and the cat, they eat. That's the point. So, like the old head said, take your resource, pool it together, start a legitimate business. Till next time, take care of yourself. Wish each and one of your very best.